Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap morning homework session and trade plan set up for Monday, April the 21st, 2014. It is still a holiday Monday up here in Canada. It is Easter Monday, so we're anticipating the market's going to be a little bit late in volume as people are taking the extra day. My name is Doug McKay. I am the founder and the head moderator for Quantum Leap. We are a self-organized learning environment. If you're joining us for the first time, we have a private chat room that's been around for over 4 years. It's not a commercial venture, it is a private venture. And if you're interested in checking it out, you can send me a Skype request at Doug_McKay. I'll be the one from Windsor, Ontario, or you can send me an email to my email at d.mckay@stealthtrader.com. Each morning we come together in this live go-to to get prepared for the market, and I go through my analysis and set up my trade levels and trade plan. And if I don't talk too much and go too long, Howard sometimes likes to chime in with the Fibonacci and the Elliott wave. Lately I've been taking all the time, so I'm going to make sure I give him some time this week to present his analysis. Before we get going, we do start with the macro to the micro. We go from key numbers to the trend in the multiple time frames, just to make sure that we have context to the market, and then we get into some more in-depth chart analysis. We do the routine each day because that's what prepares us for trading, and we don't skip it. So if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, you might want to skip ahead just slightly to get into some more in-depth chart analysis, unless you want to see what we do every day, which is the same thing every day. Before we get going, I have to do the disclaimer. So this information is for the purpose of educating members who want to expand the knowledge of the business of trading. It's not for trading or investment advice. Only you are responsible for the trades or investment decisions made. Trading futures or any instrument involves risk of loss. Please consider carefully whether futures or options are appropriate to financial situation. Only risk capital should be used when trading futures or options. Investor could lose more than their initial investment. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only, so please trade your own plan, do your own due diligence. Okay, big mouthful, but got to get it out of the way. So let's start with the key numbers and get them done. So, of course, we are trading back up above 1837.75. That is the very, very key area that we're watching. There's two numbers right in that area I want you to pay attention to. There's 1839, which is that CLVN. If we break below 39, it's a great short into 37.75 to test that year open because they've been battling this area and we've got a pretty wide balance area. And just below 37.75, you've got that triple distribution that still is undetermined fair value between the three CHVNs, which is 35 and a quarter, 29.50, and 25 and a quarter. But we'll get to that when we get to the chart. Our month open is 1864.50, so that's just above us and is the all-important number. I posted last night in the Quantum Leap room. It's not a matter of when, it's only a matter of if. I'm sorry, not a matter of if, only a matter of when we go up and hit that 1865. We're holding value up here. VPOC shifted higher, perception is higher, and value area is higher, and we've got an all-important number, which is the overall microcomposite VPOC at 1865 with this 1864 month open just below it. And it was 1864.50 was the microcomposite VPOC until it shifted up on the last one. Going and taking a look at the intraday numbers for Friday. I don't know why you don't have a Globex open on Friday. We'll have to go take a look at that. Our high on Friday, 57, low, 47 and a quarter, and RTH opened at 53 and a quarter. Were you going to say something, Howard?
Friday
the open auction in range
so we don't have a number.
True. Sorry. So this is Thursday's analysis. Sorry.
So I just copied Thursday's data onto Friday, basically.
Okay, that's what you did. Okay, so I mean we've been through these numbers before. We had a rotational day on Friday. Our main hypothesis played out. We were expecting to hit that 1865. We didn't quite get there. So you know we're holding value in this area. I think we can skip the rest of these numbers right now and jump right over to the daily report and get into the trend analysis. Currently, right now, our week open and our Globex open, and you know what? I didn't even write that down. That is sloppy of me. Let me just go do that. Sorry. When you forget to do something, then it's going to take time to do it. What was our week open? There we go. Our week open was 1859 and a quarter. Sorry about that. All right, going back to the daily report, and so far our full session high since the open has been 62.75 and our full session low has been 58 and a quarter. So our 20-day ATR target to the upside is 1879.75 and to the low side is 1841 and a quarter. The 41 and a quarter keeps popping back up. Actually 41 and a quarter to 41.75. Just taking a look at the news, there's no real big news. We've got CB leading index at 9 Central, but nothing else. But there's lots of headline risk out there with what's been going on with Ukraine over the weekend as well. So just I'm going to skip the COT report. I'll let Howard cover that when he gets on. So let's just go right over to the trending. You can see I wasn't really set up this morning. Oops. I always like to start with the monthly and work my way down. You can see that the monthly trend is definitely intact. We've got good slope and separation on the 9 EMA and the 20 SMA. Those are the two moving averages that I like to follow. We're trading in the middle of the distribution from the prior month. We came down and nearly tested the 9 EMA and bounced off it. Trend and is very much intact on the weekly, monthly, I should say. On the weekly, we had some weakness the prior week, and we had our first close below the 9 EMA for quite some time and the 20 SMA, and then we popped right back up, and now we're trading above. We've lost some slope and separation, but overall the trend is still intact. Possible head and shoulder pattern setting up here on the weekly, so just keep that in mind. On the daily, you can see that we've basically been consolidating sideways. We're actually back above the 9 and the 20, but we really don't have a trend on the daily. We're just going sideways. Going over to the geometric chart, there's three pitchforks here. There's the long-term upward sloping fork, and then the intermediate and short-term fork to the downside. There is an energy point right here at 18. Call it 1819, but I'm really looking at that 1850. If we get some serious weakness coming into the marketplace today, which I'm not anticipating, there is an energy point down here that is down here at that 1850. What I'd be watching right now is we're currently just outside of the intermediate downward sloping fork, and break down below that is going to be 1855.75, and then we're coming up to test the upper line of the shorter term downward sloping fork. A test of the upper area will bring us up to 1870.50, or that 1871 area again. So those are the two numbers I'll be watching, but if we do break below this 1855 call it 1855 and a quarter, then you might target this if we see some serious selling coming in down here at this 1819, 1850 area. That's basically all I can really get out of this today. I mean, if we do have a big rally, we did bounce off of the lower line of the upward sloping fork, and a retest of the center line of the upward sloping fork will take us into that 1895 area and give us a new high. Doubt we're going to get there today. I'm looking really for some chop and rotation up to that 65 level. Let's just take a look at the trend coming into the intraday. So take a look at the intraday trends. Our 4-hour, you can see we still have an upward trend on the 4-hour. We had this technical gap that was created on Friday with the move up, and I'm sorry, on Thursday with the move up, and now we've rotated down. We've closed this technical gap and tested the 9 EMA and then just bounced off of it. So the trend is intact to the upside on the 4-hour until we get below that 1857 area. On the 30-minute, a little bit of a different story. We've been consolidating sideways, but we've had some weakness coming in. We are creating a technical gap right here against the 9. A technical gap will probably bring us into that 1859 to 1860 area to close that gap out. But basically, the 30-minute is pretty much sideways with a little bit of a beginning of the downward trend, but nothing really powerful. On the 5-minute, a little bit different story. We do have a definitive downtrend on the 5-minute slope and separation, although we do have a technical gap right here, likely to get closed out in around the 1859, 1860 area. And you can see we're coming up to close that gap there. So let's take a look at the big picture on the composite. So there's a couple different points I want you to pay attention to on this chart right now. You know, we've got the overall balance. Now I've got, you know, my composites get a little bit, in microcomposites get a little bit convoluted because I watch things a little bit differently than some people that use volume profile. But what I'm always looking for is where did they find value, okay, before they made a move, where did they find value after they made a move, and where did they try to hold value. So I'll draw multiple microcomposites, but the main microcomposite runs from February 14th right now all the way through to Thursday at April 17th, and the overall microcomposite VPOC, or the most accepted price, is just above us and is our main target above us right now at 1865. Now, within this period, we've been trying to hold value in a couple different places. The last time we came down, we came all the way down to that 1807 area, just bounced off of it right to the tick, and that was where they held value. Let me just bring this to the front. Come on. It's not going to, okay, there we go. Okay, so we were watching this area because, you know, when we broke out of that area, which is around this 1774.50. Remember that 1774.50 was 1781.50 on the March contract until we rolled over to June. It is now our adjusted microcomposite VPOC of the balance that we broke out of several times and came back down several times, but it is also now our our composite VPOC going back to October the 9th, 2013. So it's the most accepted price below us, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But once we broke out, we found value here at 1807. Then we kept into price discovery, came up and accepted value around 1834.50, and then went up and made the new high, tried to hold value up in the 1868, 69 area, came back down to the 1834, chopped around, made another run, then tried to hold value up in the 1881.50, fell a value, came all the way down, found value for a couple days. They tried to hold it back in around that 1841, 1842 area, moved back up, found the sellers at the microcomposite VPOC at 65, it was 64.50 at the time, and then they sold off, came all the way down to the 1807 where we started, returned to the scene of the crime, found value, accepted value in around the 1824 area, around that CHVN in this triple distribution, and then went up and went all the way up to that 1865 again, 64.50, fell off, and currently they are holding value for the last 2 days up around this 1853 area, 1852. So the points that you want to pay attention to right now, as long as we're above this 55.25, and we're trying to break out of several value area highs. This value area high, which is a microcomposite that runs from the 7th through to the last trading day, the value area high there is 1858.25, and then the last 2 days value area high is 1858.50, and we're trying to break out of that. So as long as we stay above this 1855.25 CLVN, we're going to battle this 58, 59 area, and once we're above that, then I think we're going to have a nice strong move in the RTH up to, test this 65 and see if we can find sellers, responsive sellers above or right around that 65. If we accept value back there again, then the overall value area for this balance area that we're in for the bigger microcomposite is right here at 1867, with the other side of balance just being above it at 1868.50. So I'd be watching the 1868.50, because once we get above that, then we're outside of balance, outside of value, and above this other side of balance at 68.50, which is the CLVN that surrounds this this microcomposite, and CHVN at 65. And if we get above that, then I'd be looking for a move up into that 71. And that 71 area, of course, is the value area low, and just above that 70.75 that we were watching. If you remember when we were in this area, we were watching it. And then above that, you've got the CHVN at 72.75, with the other side of balance being 76.75. And then where we tried to hold value is up there at that 1851.50, which is just above also. There's a CHVN here at 79.75, and 79.75 is our 20-day ATR target. So it's our upward full session target. So that's well within our reach right now of coming up and taking out that target and testing the 81.50. And then we've got the all-time high. Well, we've got two things: 86.50, which was the prior unadjusted March contract all-time high. It's now the value area high in the smaller microcomposite, where they were trying to hold value up around 81.50 area. And then we've got the all-time high at 1892.25, and of course we've got the 1900 just above us. And I'm not so convinced that we're not going to see that 1900. Now, if we get below 55.25, then you've got some definitive targets below us. You've got the 53, with the other side of balance being 52, but the number I want you to pay attention to is that 50.50. And the reason that that 50.50 is that's the range low from Thursday, and that CHVN with 49.50 just below it. And then that 45.25 CLVN is now shifted up to 46.75. So 46.75 is going to be my key line in the sand below us in terms of seeing a much bigger retracement down, and this is where I'll be really looking to get short. I'll be looking to short into 53, but it won't be with the conviction that I will if we get below this 46.75. So let's take a look at our overnight and move everything over to our intraday chart. course, we've got our overnight high up at 62.75. We've got our overnight low at 57.25, which is right at the VPOC, and then we've got our overnight VPOC right at that number I was just talking about. I'm sorry, that's 60.50. 60.50, which is just above the value area. All right, so we can move this out of the way, and let's take a look at what we've got. There's a couple things I want to point out to you. That value area on Wednesday was down here at that 50.75, and they came back down and tested it on Friday, but accepted prices outside of value. So they're outside of that value. The value area low for Thursday, I keep saying Friday, Thursday is 52.25, and then the value area high is 59. You can see once we got outside of Wednesday's value area and range, we really fought that range, and then when we broke out of it, we came back down and tested it, but we closed above the range on Thursday and the value. So this is how I'll be playing it this morning, and I will be trading because I'm at my home office this morning. You're going to open up inside. If we open up right around where we are, we're going to open up inside of range and inside of value. Now, there's this 1858.75 right here that is kind of a little bit of an LVN. So I'd be watching this, but it's really the 1860 area that you want to keep your eye on, because that's the value area high. So I'm going to be using the 1860 area. It's kind of going to be a little bit of a slush area because I'm going to be careful about this LVN. It's kind of that situation that we talked about where you want to get short below the LVN at 58.75 into taking out the close from Friday. The naked close on Friday is 58, but the two numbers I'd be watching is this 57.25 and 57, because that's your overnight low and your naked VPOC. And then if we stay inside of value, you can start looking for a rotation down towards the 52.25, which is the value area low for an 80% value area play. So below the 50, even though I'm marking it as 59.75, 60 area as my trade area, on the short side, I want to see weakness and selling below the 58.75. Then I'll get short into the 57.25. But you really want to be careful. I'm just going to move this down slightly. I can't expand it out right now. It'll take too much time. So just remember that shorting, you want to be below 58.75, and getting long, you want to be above the 1860. And then 1860 should give you a rotation into our first target, which is that 61.75 area. That will be the first target above us. And I'm going to front run it at 61.50. And then a takeout of the overnight high. We've got a pretty tight range going overnight, but inventory is net long overnight. So I'm anticipating a lot of chop on the open, and it's really going to be this 58. We might have to come down to pick up buyers, so I'll be looking for responsive buyers to step in here at the overnight low and the naked VPOC, and then rotate back up. I still believe that if we hold above this 55.25, that we're going to get a rotational day with an upward bias to test the 65 and see if we can find some sellers, responsive sellers with convictions down there. So below the overnight low, it wouldn't surprise me that they push through and test the 55.25, okay, again from above. And then if they get, I'll be short into that already. And then if they get below 55.25, then I'll go for the value area play and a move down to, here's the 53, which is the 2-day microcomposite VPOC, with the 52 CLVN just below it. You can see that the value area low is down here at 52. So what I'll use is I'll use 53, actually 53 and a quarter, because that was the open from Thursday, as my target, and then a trade area below it will be down here at the value area low. And we're going to bring that down just a little bit because we've got a little bit of an LVN right there, and we've got the 52 CLVN. And then below that, okay, my target and trade area is going to be that 50-50, and I'm just going to front run this this range low, which was also the value area low on Thursday. Remember, we were just talking about that. If you go over, the value area low is at the 50.75. So between 50.75 and the 50 and a quarter range low is where I'll be looking for responsive buyers to step in. I'll still be short because I'll be running short. Remember, trade areas are areas where I will add on and scale out. So I'll be looking for possibility of rotations off of these points, but if we break these points in the direction of my trade, then I'll use these areas as an add-on, and I'll add on and scale out below it. And the target below the 50 and a quarter is going to be this 59.50. With the key area, which was 45 and a quarter, is now this 46.75. You've got a 46 and a quarter CLV, I'm sorry, naked VPOC. You've got 46.75 CLVN, and you've got the value area low at 46. So this is going to be my main trade area, or I should say, I'm going to delete this because I'm going to change this to a target. And it's also a trade area, but it's my main target below at 46.75. Okay, and then extended targets are going to be the 43.75, which is the microcomposite VPOC, where they tried to hold value when they came down in one of the times coming down below. So 43.75 is the target, and then below that is going to be a trade area in around. It's just going to be adjusted down slightly, down around that 39 to 40 level. It's a range low at 40.75, but it's the key 39 CLVN that I'll be looking at. And then we've got the year open target, and below that we've got naked VPOC, and then we get into this triple distribution area again. So we've got the 35 and a quarter, 29.50, and 25 and a quarter, and I still anticipate coming down and testing this area. To the upside, we have our overnight high, our target at 61.50, our overnight high, and our main target, which is at 65. And of course, you can do a range breakout trade here at 63.75. So I'll put the 63.75 as an area that I'll be looking to add on to it. And then above the 65, you've got that 68 and a quarter, which is the other side of balance, and the value area at 67, so I'm going to put it right at 67, in between 67, 50, and 68 and a quarter, and then above that you've got the 71, See how these numbers keep coming back into play, and above that 71 you've got 72.75, with the other side of balance being this 76.75, and then the big number above that is 81.50. No, let me just move this target up. All right, so that's what I'm looking at in the ES. I'm going to do a quick look at the Russell, because I said I would be doing the Russell now. So our Globex high is 37.60. Which is basically right there at the value area high, and then our overnight low is 34.10. So we've got a very tight, range going on the Russell, and then our current VPOC is 34.80, which is, just below. Let me just expand this out a bit. Just below the current VPOC, naked VPOC, I should say. Our current VPOC is 34.80. So here's what I'd be looking at. Just let's bring this down, and let's bring up the composite on the. Now the key thing you want to pay attention to here is, and we mentioned this on Thursday, because our target, remember, on Thursday was that 1139, and the 1139 is the VPOC, but we had that composite shift up from 1096 to 1121, so that's significant that accepted value on the composite was higher, and that was why our main hypothesis was to go up and hit that 1139. We missed it by 4 ticks. So the key line in the sand for you on the Russell today is going to be this 3190. So I'm going to mark that 3190. Because if we get below 3190, you want to sell, sell, sell into 24 and 21. With the first spot area to be concerned about will be this 2870, which would be your value area low. So this will become, I'm going to make this a target so we can pay attention to it. It's also a trade area because it's a value area low. But the two spots you want to keep an eye on, your two targets below, and the main target is the 24, but the big target is going to be that 21, and the range low from the prior day, because 21 is your composite VPOC, and it is going to act as a magnet below 3190. Okay, so, and then below 21, the other side of balance is that 1770, which was a key line in the sand for us. And then the target below is down there at the range high and the naked VPOC at 16. I don't have to mark it as a target. You'll know naked VPOCs are targets if you've been in this room. With the other side of balance being this 1109 area. And then the target below that is at 1107.50 CHVN. Come on. I'm not leaving you any time, am I, Howard? Sorry, we're doing these, this Russell now. Come on. There we go. Now, if we get above, and we hold above this 3190, I'm expecting chop up into this 39 area and test of the range high with your first target above the overnight high and the value area high here. But I'm going to mark the target and trade area all the way up here at 38.90 because it's really into this 39. And then above 39, you've got 41.20. And then 49.30. Come on. Let's mark it right there. And you really don't have much resistance until we get to 44. So I'd be looking at 44 as a possible responsive reaction when on our breakout. So I'd be looking for them to break out, of value at 37.50, and then test that 39, and if we can break through up to 41 with looking for responsive sellers to step in between this 41.25, but most likely in around this 44. But I think if we get into an upside drift today, we could get as high as that 49.30, and then the key area above that is 11.50.70. Come on, right there. Okay, and then we get into this triple distribution area around here and here. Actually, it's almost 3 because you got another one down here at this 47.50 area. This area I think is undetermined value right now, and I think if we get above that 44, and I am going to mark that 44 on here, we'll get the drift up. Into that triple distribution, quad distribution. Come on. I don't know why my buttons are not working well for me. There we go. All right, so that's what I'm looking at. Sorry, Howard, do you have anything that you could shove in 5 minutes?
No, I think this would be a good time to wrap it up.
Okay, so just taking a look at the Renko quickly. Our Keltner center line is 59.75, which is right near at the 59.75 and 60 value area high. So if we get above there, we're going to break out of value, and the test of the upper Keltner line is going to take us to our main target above, which is 65. If we reject this area and retrace lower, it'll take us down into that 54 or that 53 area down below by the time we get there. So that's what I'm looking at. As always, this will complete our morning homework session. Trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Now go ahead.